Welcome to this introduction to transfer pricing. This is a series of videos on transfer pricing fundamentals. And the topic of today's video is screening comparables for time period comparability. We've already talked in this series of videos about comparability, about the importance of picking the right industry. Probably the second most common screen is to ensure that the selected parties have data that can be used in the analysis. And thus we usually reject firms that do not have 3 years of data for the time period that we're studying the comparable party. We'll like to match up 3 years to 3 years. It's a very common standard in transfer pricing. This is essentially a screen that is attempting to ensure that we have comparable time periods to the extent possible for the analysis. That when we're looking at our tested parties' time periods, that we're comparing them to other firms from the same time period. Now, if for some reason this screen is too onerous and causes the set of comparables to be too small, then you can reduce the screen to require only 2 years of data. If the economy has been relatively steady over the 3-year period, then this issue is likely relatively minor. However, if the economy has been volatile, then this screen could introduce problems. If you think about it, you could be essentially introducing firms that over a 3-year period that might be 1 year of recession and 2 years of expansion. Some of these firms could be representing 2 years of expansion. Others could be 1 year of recession and 1 year of expansion. And so you would anticipate that the average profitability of those two firms could be quite different, not because of the fundamental variation in pricing that happens normally, but because we're looking at 2 different time periods. When you bring your tested party up and they have 3 years of data, or maybe they have 2 years of data, if you don't match up those years of expansion versus recession properly, you could be comparing a tested party who's in an expansion to a comparable who's in a recession, or vice versa, and that could undermine the quality of your analysis. The final question to ask is whether that variation you see in profitability at the end of the analysis is really reflecting that normal variation in profitability that happens across firms who are competing with one another, and not resulting as a result of differences in the time period that you're considering. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this short video and the other videos in this series.